Live from Brooklyn, New York, this is Stay Busy with Armon Sadler. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Stay Busy with Armon Sadler, where we have responsible discussions on the music business and the music culture. I'm your host, head honcho, vegan chorizo poppy, founder of Bald Nigga Ballers, Armon Sadler. Very happy to be here. I told you guys that he would be back. It wasn't just a one-time appearance. You know, we gave y'all Dizzy, we gave y'all Six, but we had to bring my fellow Bald Nigga Baller back to discuss very, very important things and just also see him. It's been a while since I've seen the guy. Hope he's doing well. SaVon is here. How you feeling, my brother?
I'm feeling good, man. I love whenever I come to this set in your space, I'm reminded how bald I am. So thank you. I appreciate that. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. I'm good. I can't complain. Life is good. Life is good. Yeah, I mean, I could complain, but it don't change anything, so I don't complain.
Not at all. Honestly, Stay Busy is the perfect way to like overcome complaining.
Yeah.
So I think you have like a very fitting title.
Yeah.
For what it is you want to do.
Yeah. You also gotta like give yourself moments to not do shit too, though. Just
that
like
is true.
Relax and have that leisure time.
It is a balance, and with the holidays approaching, I think it's easier to embrace that idea of not staying busy so much.
Yeah.
But yo, thank you for always having me.
Of course, bro.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
And this is the one space where I actually feel confident and equipped to talk music because I'm very competitive and I don't want to feel like I'm too out of my element. So thank you for always staying on your game and making me better. Steel sharpens steel, my brother.
Man. I feel like you held it down in the last Needs to Know episode where Regina wasn't here. Needs to Know pod. If you're not subscribed to the Needs to Know podcast, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, all that good stuff. But I feel like you held it down in the conversation. Y'all talked verses.
Yes.
Y'all talked her loss. And I was like, okay, SaVon out here stepping.
Look, I got to come prepared for you, bro. It's like you're the final boss of this shit. So I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about before I get on this platform. So yeah, thank you.
Good, because we got a lot of music shit to get into as well. So you'll be right back on that hot seat. But of course, we want to make sure that you all are subscribed to the Stay Busy YouTube channel or on your preferred audio platform. Leave a review on Apple, leave a like, comment on YouTube, download, tell a friend, share the link, tag us in the stories, tag us in posts. I will reply, and our Patreon as well. Exclusive content on the Patreon. So subscribe to us at patreon.com/the Stay Busy Pod. I want to give a big shout out to Six Said It for joining us on our last public episode. We had a really great time with Six. If you have not listened to Outside 2, make sure you check out Outside 2. Also want to shout out Aux Cord Whisperer for joining us on our Patreon segment last week. We discussed Lil Baby, Drake, Wale, a bunch of different things. And he had some hot takes for y'all. So, you know, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so you can see what he was talking, because he was saying some shit that I ain't agree with. I think he articulated himself well, but I feel like y'all would really get at him. Like, that's my guy, so I'm not going to wild out on him because I embrace difference of opinion. But you TikTok people especially, follow us on TikTok. You TikTokers be really rude. So I think y'all are the ones who would really go crazy over what he said. So I would like to incite that. Of course, you can tap into all of our busy sessions and our YouTube shorts on our YouTube channel. Shout out the team, Kieran Hurley, VP of Everything, SaVon DeShields in the building, VP of Engagement, Aaliyah Simone, VP of Data and Analytics, Nick Early, Executive Producer, out of office again. You know, his PTO is unlimited, so he is out of office again. We'll see Nick when we see him. He's probably somewhere singing R&B or playing a piano or winning a national championship in basketball. I don't know, whatever he's doing. And of course, the listeners as well. Thank you all for tapping back in, whether you like AirPods or over-ears, hard seltzer or beer, Batman or Superman, flatbread pizza or a personal pan. AirPods or over-ears?
I'm an AirPods guy. I can't live without them. Every single time I lose them, I have to like replace them immediately. I can't go 24 hours without an AirPod.
How many pairs of AirPods have you gone through already?
So I started wearing AirPods about maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
I'm about on my sixth pair.
Wow.
I'm about on my sixth pair. Yeah, a lot of because when I first got them, I'm not used to having those things like apart. It's almost like having your keys, your
Yeah.
wallet. Like you almost got to do the pocket check. I wasn't
Yes.
used to doing the pocket check with the AirPods.
Right.
So I would always like put them in the washing machine
Wow.
accidentally,
Sheesh.
and so you can't really revive those. So I'm an AirPods guy.
Yeah, AirPods for the convenience, for working out, for not being wired to something. I like over ears for like the audio quality, of course. Like it's always better to, and AirPod audio quality is pretty solid, but like over ear joints, you just bump differently with those. And I've tried to work out with over ears, and it don't hit. They be slipping off your head and all that. So
I feel like if you're not like an NFL player or an NBA player, you probably shouldn't work out with over ears. Like unless you're trying to train for something,
Right.
just stick to the AirPods.
especially if you don't have hair like me, then like if you got like a lot of hair, then it'll kind of provide that cushion where like
okay.
the over ears are a little tighter on your head. But if you bald and you sweat more, then joints be sliding. So yeah, I'm a big AirPod guy. Hard seltzer or beer?
I would probably go hard seltzer. I'm not a beer guy.
Okay.
I grew up in Long Island. Anybody who's not familiar with Long Island, very suburban. Played a lot of beer pong. It's not my thing, man. Give me some hard seltzer, please.
What's your favorite hard seltzer brand?
I don't have a favorite. I just know I prefer it, if that makes sense. I have a favorite flavor, right? So I like any lime flavor.
Okay.
I'm cool with a lime. I'm cool with a strawberry, a mango. You get what I'm saying? I don't really have a brand, but I like particular flavors.
I respect that. Yeah, I've become the White Claw connoisseur over the last 3 years now.
Oh, you a baddie?
Yeah. I mean, thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
I mean, it's on your brand.
I
so-
appreciate that. You feel me?
problem, okay.
But yeah, White Claws are my shit. So if y'all hearing this White Claw, hit us up. I've drank y'all on our set so many times. We might as well make this link up happen. Batman or Superman?
Oh man. So before I answer this, I'm gonna preface it with, as I've gotten older, I appreciate Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, whatever you want to call him. I do thoroughly appreciate him and his skill set. But I'm a Superman guy, man. It started with the S. Okay,
There it is.
started with an S. My first name, my
That'll do
last
it.
name. The S was right there,
Yeah.
and then you can't beat this guy. So
He's pretty incredible.
why would I pick anything else? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Superman on this one.
Similar to you, as I've gotten older, as I've seen Dark Knight Rises, all those movies, like I've really come to appreciate Batman. Because like when you're young and like Superman is just like the Man of Steel. Like, I played the video game when I was younger. Like I didn't really play Batman games when I was younger. I played Superman games.
Yeah.
Then when I got older, I started playing like Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, all those, and Batman, just the way he uses gadgets, like super rich, super suave dude, and like Superman suave too, but like Batman is just different. So I think adult Armon would go Batman, child Armon would go Superman.
For sure. The marketing, Superman just didn't have the same marketing push
That's true. Yeah.
that Batman did for whatever reason.
Yeah. Damn, I didn't never think about that. That's really a good point. There's a Batman movie almost like every 2 years.
Every year.
I don't
They
see too many
won't let
Superman
him
movies.
die.
Yeah. It'll just give you a new one. Flatbread pizza or personal pan. When I said personal pan, I was thinking of the Domino's personal pan because that joint is just like, it's like all reliable. So this is an interesting comparison, but I'm interested in what your perspective is. Flatbread or personal pan?
Oh, damn, yo, you asked the hardest question. Like,
That's what we're here for.
Who comes up with these questions? Like,
I'm kind of a journalist. I don't know if you know.
Okay,
I'm
I forgot. My bad. No disrespect, King. I'm gonna probably go with the personal pan. You said specifically Domino's, so I'm basing it
So I was
on
thinking
Domino's.
Domino's myself. But
Nah,
like,
we thinking.
okay, we
Domino's.
thinking.
We
Cool.
thinking.
Well, one band, one sound.
Yeah,
I fuck with that.
I'm gonna go with that. Flatbread. It's hit or miss for me. It's hit or miss because the toppings, you got to rely so heavily on what's on top of the flatbread. It's not necessarily the bread that pulls you in. It's more so the top of it. With the pan pizza, you could literally just eat the bread and almost be good. So I'm gonna go with the Domino's flatbread. I gained a lot of weight over the pandemic eating that shit. So yeah, shout out to Domino's.
Yeah, personal pan guy. I discovered the splendor of a Domino's personal pan in college, and I don't eat it as much as I used to because in college it was like you ain't have that much around you to eat. Like you order Domino's, you might order Papa John's. There's like a couple of spots in Ithaca that were like specific to Ithaca. And as I've gotten older, like I don't order as much, but I had a Domino's personal pan like a couple weeks ago. I was like, damn, this shit hit. And like it reminded me of my broke, struggling college days, but I'm not broke and struggling no more. So it's just like I could triumphantly eat a personal pan. And it's just like I just feel like I'm at a new level. So yeah, that's the vibe. Cool. let's jump into this chat. Some numbers for you. Her Loss, Drake and 21 Savage debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 albums chart, selling 404,000 units in its first week. In terms of the Hot 100, it took up 8 spots in the top 10. Taylor Swift is still #1 with Anti-Hero and the 30,000 remixes she's releasing to that song. But some major achievements. I mean, Drake has done similar to this before. For 21, this is pretty big. I mean, this is his third #1 album now, but to be on, I think he was on like 7 of the 8 songs that were in the top 10 because Back Outside Boys was one of them that charted. But it's amazing for 21. Like, I'm very, very happy for him. I've still been running the project up pretty heavily. I think it's really good. People are having conversations of it being better than What a Time to Be Alive. I don't know where I stand with that yet.
Okay.
I think there's definitely some nostalgia associated with What a Time to Be Alive for me, because I remember exactly where I was when I listened, and it's aged so beautifully to me among a lot of shitty collab albums.
Facts.
But this one is just like, it's fantastic. So I don't know. I don't know if I can make that choice right now. Do you think you can make that choice right now?
No, I'm not gonna go that far. I think it's almost like the new kid in school, right? Where the new kid comes in and everybody wants to know who he or she is. And this is just that for me. I think What a Time to Be Alive, for what it was, because not only, like, obviously there were collab albums before, right? We had Watch the Throne, those kind of things. But I want to say that really embraced, the culture embraced that concept tremendously after that album in particular.
Especially because it was at the high, like, streaming had just started then. Like, we had a nationwide listening party on Apple Music to that shit.
Yeah. So I can't give it that. I'm not really going off the numbers. I'm going off the impact of What a Time to Be Alive. And then also, no slight to 21 Savage, but he's not on the level as a Future to me. And so when Drake and Future, guys on the Mount Rushmore of the last 10, 15 years, link up and do it, it was like the same effect as Kanye and Hov. So, yeah, I'm gonna still go with What a Time to Be Alive. But Her Loss is an amazing body of work. I think both of those guys showed up. It was spicy, right? It was very spicy. So yeah, I'm gonna probably lean towards What a Time to Be Alive.
And speaking of some spice, you guys touched on this on your last episode, but 21 Savage had a week as the main character on social media. We know that he's been the mayor of Clubhouse. He's still on Clubhouse. I think everyone left Clubhouse after 2020. 21 is still on there every day talking to people. If he's not on there, he's on Twitter Spaces. But naturally, coming off of a Drake collab project where you have 11 of the 15 songs you're on with Drake, he's very confident in himself. And he said that he can beat his entire 2016 XXL freshman class in a versus battle. Naturally, some nasty conversations started over social media. A lot of people doubting 21 Savage. The thing is, absolutely he's saying this because of he just did a 16-song project with Drake. Like, who wouldn't say that after you do a 16-song project with Drake? Versus is 2020. You got 16 songs, right? Well, 11, but you have half of your songs you can play from that project. So his confidence makes perfect sense. But Kodak Black fired back at him and said that he was tripping out, blah, blah, blah. Kodak's been going at him like the last week, like just with a bunch of different shit. And then people brought up Lil Uzi Vert. I know you've spoken on this already, so you don't have to rehash your thoughts.
No, let's do it, man. That's why I'm here.
But for me, I think his only competition in his class is Lil Uzi Vert. I think Kodak has a lot of hits. He's been on some big features. He's done big records, but I don't think people remember the extent of 21 Savage's catalog. Like, I actually made a list of his songs, and I've got a good amount of them before you even get to Drake's name. So let me read these off, because I might be reminding you of some.
Okay.
So you got X with Future. You got No Heart. You got Rockstar Post Malone. You got Bank Account. You got Bartier Cardi with Cardi B. You got A Lot with J. Cole. You got My Life with J. Cole. Outside, Travis Scott. NC-17, Travis Scott. 10 Freaky Girls, or Metro Boomin. And Don't Come Out the House, Metro Boomin. I'm pretty sure I'm missing something, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 songs before you even get to a Drake collab. Most of these are hits, or they were big records. So I think people are not realizing how much 21 has done over the course of his career since debuting in 2016. Like, he's been hot his whole career. Like, there's never really been a down moment or a project that people were like, oh, this is kind of mid. Like, 21's been doing his thing for his whole career. Now, Uzi, of course, Uzi is Uzi's a tough matchup for him. Like, very tough matchup. Like,
very tough.
His 2016 stuff, his 2017 stuff, like, over the course of Uzi's career, he's been hot too. Like, he's never really had a down moment. He's just maybe not as present as 21 Savage is. So I think that would be a good matchup. I was in a group chat with people. They were like, Lil Uzi Vert clears. Like, it's easily Lil Uzi. I was like, I don't know if it's easily Uzi. It could be Uzi, but I think 21 would surprise niggas because, again, you got the 11 songs I said, and then you bring in Sneakin' with Drake. Jimmy Cooks with Drake, Mr. Right Now with Drake, Knife Talk with Drake, and then everything on Her Loss. Like, if we're in a live setting playing these shits is ringing off. And like, Uzi and him are also stylistically different. So I think that could play to either Uzi's advantage or it could play to 21's advantage. So I think it'll be a really interesting battle. What do you feel about him in comparison to his class?
I think the confidence is warranted, right? For him to do what he did, I think is definitely warranted. And I think it also depends, like, the great thing about these versus conversations is it is subjective, right? If I'm the judge, I may judge it differently from you, right? I'm going to, personally, I have to dock points when all of your hits, you're the featured artist.
Yeah.
Now, granted, some people may not care. Some people may not see it as a place to, like, deduct points, I guess. But for me, if you're always the feature, now, granted, he does show up on those features. I'm not going to take away from that man. He shows up. But I think it's different when you can kind of stand alone in that space. And honestly, I wasn't even really going to argue for Uzi as much. I'm more of a Kodak kind of guy if I had to pick a horse in that race. But I also want to remind people that Anderson .Paak dropped a collab album with Bruno Mars. And that is also a person that was in that freshman class. I think that class is awesome, by the way. I didn't realize how stacked it was. It feels like such a long time ago. Like, holy shit, I'm getting old. But yeah, so I would probably lean towards Kodak because I feel like Kodak can stand alone a little bit more as him being the, primary artist and also his influence. I feel like he has a bigger tree in that sense. But in a versus setting, I'm not mad at 21. I've never been like the biggest fan of his music. I'm not gonna sit here and cat for y'all. But I understand. Like I started to get it. His voice, the monotone, all that stuff. It didn't really grasp me. But he's able to flourish with all of those people that you said, which is a skill in itself, right? To be able to dominate with J. Cole, Drake, Future, Post Malone, like that is an accomplishment in itself. So, shout out to him.
And that's the thing too, is I went for like the biggest records, but we've seen artists in these verses like Mario versus Omarion, for example. Mario was playing B-sides and was winning off of his vocal ability as well. So we don't really know how 21 or any of them would curate it. Like, I think I'm not the biggest Kodak fan. I respect his talent, but I think like he would come in and he would surprise me just because I'm probably not as familiar with his catalog. But I feel like he'll be playing shit that his fan base would really react to. So that's the other thing, is like curation is the big thing. Nick and I would say that all the time. Like, how you curate it is something. But I was just thinking, like, because people were dead saying like, 21, what have you done? Like you haven't done shit. And I'm just like, have y'all been under a rock? Like, 21's had a big record, multiple big records every year. Like. So
I think that's the testament to today's climate in music, though, because the verses that we've watched, we get to see like more legacy acts, right?
Yeah,
those legacy acts, their hits were universal. Everybody knew those hits. Today's artists, your fan base may not translate into the next man's fan base.
That's facts.
So like you said, Kodak might get up there and play like hood classics. His fans know every single song, and 21's may not. It doesn't diminish what he did, but it just doesn't translate within like on a even playing field. I guess I could say, right? Like Nelly versus Ludacris. No matter who you had in that race, you knew their catalog. You knew what was coming when it was coming. You knew how you would respond when it happened. Compared to the new generation, we don't have that. We're in like our own bubble, so to speak. So if I'm a Kodak fan, I may not even know a single song from somebody on that other cover.
And that's the other thing. Like, when Versus first started and everyone was like, oh, we need this artist who's been around for 2 years versus this artist, I was like, no, like we should it really only be people with like catalogs. Like Rick Ross versus 2 Chainz, that makes sense. They've been in the game over 10 years, both of them. Fucking Lil Jon versus T-Pain makes sense. Been in the game over 20 years, both of them. Like, legacy acts. It really should be a legacy act thing. So these conversations for newer artists get nasty. So I'm just like, they haven't really had enough time. Like, something might be big in 2018, that you might not necessarily care about later on. Like we've been able to sit with Rick Ross's, Blowing Money Fast and 2 Chainz, No Lie, all that for like a long period of time, and they've given more of that over the course of their career. So I just generally think if you ain't been in music for more than 10 years, you shouldn't even be talking about verses. But I do like 21's confidence. I do think that people should really remind themselves everything that he's contributed ever since really breaking through in 2016. Some things that 21 said that also riled people up. He was in a Twitter Spaces. Somehow Nas came up and Nas's relevance. And 21 said that I don't think Nas is really relevant. He just he makes good music and he just has like a very strong fan base. This also caused a lot of commotion on social media, also leading to people saying, 21, what the hell have you done? My perspective on the situation is his word choice was wrong. You shouldn't have used the word relevant when it comes to Nas. Also, a lot of people don't know what the word relevant means clearly, because just the takes that I was seeing, the defenses and all that, it was very stupid. Nas, because he is arguably a hip-hop GOAT to a lot of people, he will always be relevant within the scope of hip-hop. Is he a hot act today? Is he going to be the top of your rap caviar playlist? Is he going to be, on when his music drops, is it the first album you run to? No. But he also doesn't need to be that. He's given over 20 years to rap music. He's got a bona fide classic in Illmatic, multiple classics to some people. So his relevance, it doesn't really matter because he's a legacy act and shit. He's sounding better than he's sounded in quite some time with these Hit Boy projects. So, I understand what 21 was trying to say because he is a newer act and he's a part of this new era, this streaming era, this microwave era, this being present era. And I think he speaks to a younger fan base who generally may not care about Nas, which is fine. That's the beauty of hip hop is it's been around for over 50 years. Certain age groups can enjoy what they enjoy. The younger people can enjoy what they enjoy. But what matters to an old person may not matter to the kids, and what matters to the kids may not matter to the old person. But Nas is just undeniably, objectively important to hip hop. That just goes without saying. So I think 21 could have used a better word instead of relevance. I understood what he was saying. I don't think he meant it to be disrespectful, but this is the era we're in. People want to get mad at something. So they hear Nas isn't relevant and people are going to act like you've never done anything before. So that was kind of annoying to see. It was just a lot of bad faith arguments and a lot of nonsense. But I mean, 21 kind of brought on himself. So not that I'm expecting him to be the most did the exact word to use. And I don't think he's thinking about not offending people. He was just speaking his mind. Mm-hmm. But that's what comes with speaking your mind is.
I think when you speak on people who have accomplished as much as Nas has and has done as much for the culture as Nas has, I think, and especially as an artist, right, where words are your currency, I think you should be a little bit more careful with how you present and package certain things that you're trying to convey. Yeah. When I walked into the studio today, I pressed a doorbell. It was called The Ring, right? Nas is a heavy investor in that company. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's in front of millions of Americans' homes. Now, granted, his name isn't on it. His face isn't plastered on it. But I think the definition of relevancy, and in that word in particular, it just shows how closed-minded our culture can be sometimes. Yes. Because that word, sure, he's not hot. And I'm glad you said that word because I think that's what he was trying to say. Maybe. Yeah. I don't want to speak for him, but sure, he's not, top 5 artist streaming. And again, it's also easy for 21 to talk like this when he has a #1 album alongside the hottest person in the world, right? So his perspective could be a little bit skewed. Yeah. But yeah, man, I hate how we have to, define or say these things to kind of uplift ourselves and diminish others. And maybe he didn't mean any disrespect by it, but if you use words for a living, you should know how to use them. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Especially when speaking about Nas. That's somebody he should aspire to draw his career after, in a sense. And maybe not the direct path, but Nas is not only a rapper, an artist, he's still performing at a high level in his craft, and he's also made a way, Nas came out in 94. I was born in 94. Like, I don't think people really take that into consideration.
Yeah.
And maybe, again, 21, like I said earlier about 21 and Kodak, like maybe he's in his own world.
Yeah.
And that's what social media has allowed us to do,
Yeah.
where we only stick in our own world. Like, there's somebody right now who was crying and celebrating the fact that Nas released an album.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And that person looks at Nas, and the relevance in his life that Nas has is unmatched.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is like the regionalism comes into it, because people that matter more to New Yorkers, to Southerners may not matter as much.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Southerners look at Scarface and fucking Outkast and all these people as their goats. New Yorkers, we look, I'm not New York, Jersey people, but East Coast people look at Biggie, Hove, Nas, you know, those people as their goats. So I think that's also what played into it too, because a lot of New Yorkers were getting offended at what 21 said, and then a lot of Southerners were, you know, agreeing with him, like, Nas don't really matter that much to us. And it's like, yeah, like, that makes sense. But just because it's not relevant to you doesn't mean it objectively doesn't matter. The same way, like, me as a nigga from Jersey, I'm not gonna say Outkast wasn't that big, because first of all, I saw Outkast all over 106 and Park and like BET and all that, so like I would never deny how big they are. But just because they don't matter as much to me, like, objectively, Outkast is one of the greatest duos of all time. So I think that's also the other thing, is people valuing their bubble and using that to project these grandiose statements about the music landscape as a whole, which is just not the case. So yeah, that's that on 21. He'll probably have another wild statement soon as the mayor of Clubhouse. But speaking of Nas, let's jump into Nas King's Disease 3, produced by Hit Boy, the fourth project that they have done together over the last 3 years. They did King's Disease in 2020, King's Disease 2 in 2021, Magic at the end of 2021, and then we got King's Disease 3 a couple weeks ago. How'd you feel about the project?
I believe, first off, I didn't know what to expect, because we've heard them so many different times.
Yeah.
But on the first song, Nas says that, yo, King Disease 3 is better than all the other King Diseases.
He does say that.
He said that.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's lying. Like, this project is really good. It's a masterclass on how to age in hip hop.
Yeah.
And that's why I get pissed off when I hear the 21 Savages say things like that, because where he is in his life to be doing what he's doing, like, is we've never seen it. It's unprecedented. Like, that's the thing. Nas is a vessel to hip hop, literally a vessel to this culture, and he's still performing at a high level. Like, people like to make jokes about like the KRS-Ones and the Kumo D's and the older guys. Like, Nas is from that era. You get what I'm saying? So anybody listening, like, I really want you to kind of just soak that in. But I was impressed by it. I think Hit Boy, this should also be a Hit Boy album. This is a Nas and Hit Boy album, because his production, the way that they are able to just play off of each other, and you really don't get this too much in music today, where a producer and a rapper are just so in tune with each other, from the styles to the cadences to everything. Like, I feel like it was a masterclass for both of these guys on a production level, on a rap level. I want to shout out, actually, the OG verses. A lot of people see verses as the production that it is today. Hit Boy
was one of the first ones.
Was one of the very first verses. And I feel like him performing and doing what he did that night gave him like a launching pad. It gave him like a second win. Now you bust your first nut, and then you gotta re-up, and then the second one like is hitting different. I'm sorry.
How do we get here?
I don't know, but that was just the analogy that came to mind. It just like his second win is incredible right now. Like, he's on a tear. So I just want to shout out to both those guys. If y'all gotta edit that out, please feel free.
No, it stays.
But that was just the only way that I could really
This is Music Talk with SaVon, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
But no, I agree, bro. I agree 100%. I'm not even the biggest Nas fan. Like, even as a kid, like I would hear him on the radio. I was like, oh, like, he's good. I acknowledge he's good. I just don't necessarily love it.
Okay.
When I listened to King's Disease in 2020, I was like, oh, this is the best Nas shit I've ever heard. And like, I've heard Omatic. Like, it's not better than Omatic, but it's up there in terms of like modern type music. Like, Hit Boy making it feels like he like turned the dial back, and like a young Nas came out with the Hit Boy stuff. And then you hear King's Disease 2, and both of those two have features. This one is Nas all by himself. So when I saw Nas over the course of 17 songs rapping alone, I was like, am I gonna rock with this? I might like this one the best out of the three as well.
Yeah.
Like, he really held his own. He jumped on a drill beat. Like, you know, he's giving you the soul sample stuff. He's bar fest, like reigniting the shit with Hove real playfully. Like, Michael and Quincy is my favorite song. Thun is really good. Recession Proof. Like, he was really doing his thing. He had one song, Reminisce. Like, I don't like to reminisce because everything we doing now is lit. Like, I felt that in my soul because I'm like, I don't want to reflect on the wins I had 2 years ago. Like, my life is lit now. Like, I really felt that. And I think he's really in this mode where, because as an old head, like, the music community, you know, we're quick to set people aside, move on. Like, you know, that's an old nigga, we don't care about him, or that's scaring the hoes music, whatever. But like, I feel like Nas is just like reminding niggas, and this confidence level that he's at, and Hit Boy is challenging him in the studio. Like, nah, just jump on a drill beat. Like, yeah, you could give that backpack boom bap type stuff, but not just jump on a drill beat. Like, do this more modern production, like something that a young ear will hear and get like kind of, and then hear it's Nas and like be like, oh shit, like this is dope. So I thought King's Disease 3 was really good. I've been running it up, and yeah, job well done to Nas, job well done to Hit Boy. It's great to see veterans age well in rap. Well, because like, you know, the example of like 2 Chainz, for example, like it's time for him to pack it up. Like it's time to pack it up for 2 Chainz.
Or find a Hit Boy.
Or find a Hit Boy.
Find somebody that you work well with. Find somebody that compliments you. Somebody that challenges you. Find somebody who pushes you to be a better artist. Yeah. Like, the problem with 2 Chainz is not his ability. Yeah. In my opinion, and I'm not the biggest 2 Chainz fan. I appreciate him, and I know he has bars. He has all of the things that can make him relevant. Yeah. I think the only thing that's not really clicking or connecting is he's not being challenged, or he's not challenging himself.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. So maybe he'll link with Hit Boy. Maybe he'll jump with Metro. I don't know, like somebody who's just gonna bring that beast out of you. Like, like you lay down a verse and like you don't want them to just say, oh yeah, that was cool. Or you come out like, no, like, nigga, you could do better. Like, do that again. You need somebody like that. So yeah, King's Disease 3, job well done. Loved it. Let's jump into WizKid, More Love, Less Ego. Really enjoyed this project. WizKid is definitely among my favorites when it comes to the Afrobeats music. It's hard for, I say this often when we talk about like Afrobeats projects, it's hard for me to critique it. Like, I don't know what bad Afrobeats is besides like when certain hip hop artists try to do it and it don't hit that much. Like, there's a certain
shout out to Justin Bieber.
Shout out to Bieber.
He tried it.
He did. I mean, well, you talking about him on the Essence remix?
Yeah.
I thought his verse was good.
That's my guy, but nah, don't.
I thought his verse was good.
But just leave it alone, though. Did we need it?
Did we need it? No.
That's all I needed.
I bet you WizKid was happy as hell to get that verse.
For sure. Shout out to both of those guys. And I'm like I said, I'm a Bieber fan. I love Bieber with his music. But like when you said bad Afro beats,
Bieber came to mind.
I was just like, yeah, he probably should have sat that one out.
I feel you. I think DaBaby did a freestyle to Essence. Like, that's what we really don't need.
I agree.
Like, that's really what we don't need. Like, Bieber singing over it, it was cool. It sounded good. DaBaby rapping over. Yeah, we don't need that. But
we don't need a lot of shit from DaBaby. I ain't gonna lie.
Truthfully, yeah, he can go. But More Love, Less Ego, I really liked it. My favorite thing is, of course, when I open an album, I look to see how long the album's gonna be. This is 13 songs, 40 minutes. Really good runtime. He doesn't keep you long. Give you a couple features: Ira Star, Skilly Bang, Shensia, Skepta, Don Toliver. For the most part, it's good. I don't know what bad, like I said, I don't know what bad Afrobeats is, but I listen to this. I want to dance. I feel good. Like, it's just like, it's an earworm. Like, I'm even if I can't pronounce some of the words, like, I'm trying to learn them so I can sing along to them. I'm on the train, like, singing out loud, catch myself singing out loud, looking to see if anyone's hearing me, like, shit like that. Like, WizKid don't miss to me. Like, he's really good. So yeah, More Love, Less Ego. I rocked with it.
It makes you feel good, Afro beats. You know, it puts you in a really good mood. And I think one of the reasons why it's been able to kind of break through in mainstream media and music today is because it's like the only form of music that's being created that's timeless. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like, you could play the Thames song from a few years ago, like, anywhere, anytime. It gives me the same feeling that Miguel gave me. You know the song.
Adorn?
Adorn.
Yeah.
Like, every time a major Afrobeat song comes out, it's like, yo, I could play this every single summer for the rest of my life and be content.
Yeah.
And be great.
Yeah.
And then even the B-sides are always like, you can always find a B-side that you vibe to too.
Yeah.
So shout out to WizKid.
Yeah. They're like lightning in a bottle, but they just do it over the course of a whole album. Like Burna Boy, like Omalay's album, like artists like that. Like it's just, I feel good. I want to dance. I want to drink. I want to be out. Like that's really it. So WizKid is he's really dope. I got to see him live last summer. That was cool. So yeah, like that's it. More love, less ego, and that's a dope title.
I was gonna say I really like
more
that.
love, less ego, because that's facts. Like we need more love in this world, less ego. So word. Lastly, and this might be a extended discussion for us. Roddy Ricch, Feed the Streets 3. So, backstory for those who are new, those who may not be tapped into Roddy Ricch. He dropped Live Life Fast last December, and that had a lot of high anticipation for it because he gave us Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial at the end of 2019. Songs like The Box. What else was on there? Boom Boom Room. It was an album, honestly, full of hits. Fantastic album. And so the expectations were very high for him. He came in talking a lot of shit, saying no one else's music inspires him. He's going to go out, live life, and then he's going to give people music that reflects the life he's living. He gives us the album. That shit was not good at all. Like, at all. Like, just really nothing redeemable. I gave it fair spins when it first came out. I have not felt inclined to go back to it at all. So, it put Roddy in this interesting position where he felt like he had something to prove. His back was to the wall, which is an unfortunate reality of this era that we're in. People are so quick. As soon as you miss once, people are ready to say, oh, he's washed, he's done, he's cooked, blah, blah, all that. But I'm like, Feed the Streets 2 was good. Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial was good. Roddy's features are good. Everything he's given was good up until this album. So I'm not going to write him off. Like, I'm like, nah, it's just like he just needs to bounce back. We talked about that on the episode where you and Alice came. Feed the Streets 3, he teased it like maybe a month or two after Live Life Fast dropped. And he was dropping snippets. Like he was just trying to remind people what he could do. But I love that he was put in this position because I think we are quick. Not only are we quick to tear people down, but we're quick to give people star status. Roddy had an amazing album, Grammy nominated. I believe he's a Grammy winner at this point. So we were quick to elevate him, put him in the class with the Lil Babies and the Gunnas and, Uzis and all of them. And I think we needed that reminder, and he needed that reminder. Like, the higher you are, the harder you fall. And I think him getting into that bag is why this project, Feed the Streets 3, was really good to me. I really enjoyed it. I think he sounds passionate. I think that I like the production efforts. I like that he remembered, like, yo, I can croon as well as I can rap, and you blended that on the project. Like, I think it's really good. I love also that he didn't have too many features here, because Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial had a good amount of features. Live Life Fast was feel like it was mostly features. This one he only had Dirk and Ty Dolla $ign, so it was 15 songs. He's handling all of it. And the thing that made me laugh is a lot of these songs, he's just talking to shit. He's like, yo, I got mad money. I got all these accolades. Like, he's like, yo, if y'all gonna hate on me and try to tear me down, I'm just gonna flex on y'all and remind y'all how rich I am. Sometimes you gotta do that. Like when niggas wanna talk crazy to you, when niggas don't wanna give you the credit you deserve, or they wanna write you off quick, be like, yo, you're broke. Like you ain't got shit. Like,
that's what you do.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what you do.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
I ain't get there yet, so I don't know. But I feel
you got more money than me. Get out of here, bro. No, don't do that. But sometimes you gotta remind niggas, because if you don't remind people, then they'll forget. And I'm just like, Roddy was too important in 2019 and 2020 for y'all to let one project be like, oh, no, he's cooked, he's done, it's over. Like, that's nuts to me. So I think this is a really good reminder. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's an amazing project, but I do think it was really good. And if we're going to call it a comeback album, then he came back. I don't like using that, just because, again, it was one bad project. Like, if he had 3 years of bad projects, I'd be like, okay, yeah, this nigga needs to, he needs to come back. But this one was just he kind of shat the bed last year, and he got back to where he needed to be. So.
Yeah. I think with his second album, what happened was he made us wait.
Mm-hmm.
He built this anticipation, and the more he did it, the higher he set himself up for failure almost.
Yeah.
So I don't think that, and it was a pretty bad album. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty bad album.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was as bad as it seemed. if he hadn't kind of taken the Kendrick Lamar approach, where it's like, I'm gonna make you wait, and then I'm gonna give you something. And then also leading up to it, if I remember correctly, he was like pretty vocal too.
Yeah, he was talking his shit.
He was pretty vocal
He was
about how
talking
this
his
is gonna
shit.
get one, and he's really confident, and he didn't really get the response that he wanted. So honestly, I just like seeing people take a punch and get back up.
Yeah.
Right. He took a punch and he got back up. With this album, it gave me the feeling of that 2019 a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Where I was like, okay, this is the person that I was introduced to.
Yeah.
Right. This is the person that I knew, and I was like, okay, let me listen to it with some open ear. So there was a few songs that are skippable for me. Not everything that I loved, but there was a few where I'm like, you know what, I could go back to it. I could play this. He sounds like he's getting back in his bag. And like I said, man, I like seeing people win.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artists who don't recover from sophomore slumps. There's a lot of artists who don't have the confidence to get back in the studio and give it another shot.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's actually doing that. So I'm always going to support that, whether I listen to the music, like the music or not.
Yeah.
Like, I got to support the person behind the music at some point. I think that's where we lack as an audience sometimes. We don't really take the time out to remember that these people are people and this is art.
Yeah.
And whether the art is ass or not, it's still something that
Yeah.
they're giving us. You know what I'm saying? So I saw a tweet, and I don't even mean to like go off the rails, but I saw a tweet. Meek Mill, he was venting about how record labels don't pay out anything, right? So they're almost giving this music out for free, essentially, and they invest so much time, sweat equity into it. So shout out to Roddy Ricch, man. And I'm happy to see. And I know his fan base is happy too.
100%.
Because they were going through it too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Roddy Ricch fans who weren't able to like stick their chests out and be like, yo, this is the Lil Baby, Da Baby. All these guys came and just surpassed him in a matter of 2 months.
Yeah.
And so I know that was a little difficult for the Roddy Ricch fans and his fan base.
And it was like a double-edged sword move too, like returning to a popular series that he had. Because a lot of artists do that. Like, they'll be like, "Oh shit, you ain't like my project? Let me go back to this mixtape series I had and give you another edition of that." And they'll miss. But I think this one, like, in returning to a place of comfort, he returned to really where he needs to be. Like, just kind of having that chip on his shoulder. Like, I've got something to prove. Like, so kind of like you said, he started to believe his hype with Live Life Fast era. Like, he thought he could just drop something with a very minimal rollout, and he was shown like, it's not that. So I'm happy for Roddy as well. I would say my favorite songs: Number One Freak, Ty Dolla $ign, Fade Away. I like No Rest. I like Heavier. I'd say those are my favorites. The singles were good. Aston Martin Truck, Stop Breathing, Twin with Dirk. Yeah. Good project. Like, more than half of it I really like. So shout out to you, Roddy. Welcome back. If we're doing a comeback thing. Let's jump into the slide deck. We can put our headphones on.
Let's do it.
And let's hear what Frank Ocean got for us. All right. So before we get into SaVon's song, we're gonna give him a little French lesson because he had some trouble pronouncing the name of his artist. So this is I forget what the French name for teacher is, but my half Haitian self who doesn't speak Creole or French, I'm gonna tap into the little French and the pronunciation that I do know. So this is Jenevieve.
I'm not doing that.
Say it.
I like her a lot. Like, I don't want to fuck her name up.
Jenevieve. Come on, try it,
Jenevieve.
bro. There we go. This is Jenevieve Resume, and this is produced by Benzie Boys. Let's jump into it.
This is a vibe, by the way. What you think, man?
That was dope.
That was dope.
That was dope,
I got
man.
your stamp.
Hey, I rock
got
with
your
it.
stamp.
I rock with it.
I
I'm
really
gonna save that.
I really appreciated the flip on being on somebody's resume
Mm-hmm.
because we hear Future say it all the time. She's on my resume. I really appreciated that flip. I'm a lyrics guy. That is a tune. Please make sure y'all download that. I don't know her. This is not gonna affect me. I don't gain from it at all. I just appreciate the flip on the word being on somebody's resume.
Yeah. Very celestial vocals. I love the production on there. It's like mid tempo. It's not ballady, but it's not super upbeat. It's like something you could knock to, something you could rock to. I'd play it in the car.
Yeah.
Turn the bass all the way up. That should be rocking. So
turn the lights down.
Yeah.
Have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And throw that on to start your night off.
Absolutely. So that was Jenevieve Resume, produced by Benzie Boy. Make sure y'all tap into that. My pick, this is Dancer. This is by my boy Manny Montana, produced by himself. I'm calling Manny Montana. His real name is on his credits, but I'm going to call him Manny Montana because we're going by the artist pseudonym. So this is Dancer by Manny Montana.
When it's you and I don't talk about your man, that's the type of stuff in the dance. Running on my mind, should I praise you? Thinking you're the one who could be next to. Money in the club, by the post she next to. Wanna say what's up like I never met you, girl. Tell me if it's like that I'm feeling inside. I just see you once and it changed my life.
All right, that was Dancer by Manny Montana. Gives me very like hip hop and like alternative rock type vibes. I love the synergy between hip hop and alternative rock. Cool vocals there. I think you rode the beat really well. I love the when it's you and I don't talk about your man type shit. Because if you are a proud side nigga, I'm not. I'm very cuffed, love you, baby. But if you are a proud side nigga, you probably relate to that. Like, don't talk about your man when I'm here. Like, when it's you and I, don't talk about your man. Giving love to the strippers. Shout out to all the strippers out there doing what they do. Great record. Manny also, he self-produces too, self-mixes, does all that stuff for himself. So I really respect that. I've been rocking with him for a couple years now.
Okay.
So I've seen him really grow. Dancer's doing numbers right now. So if y'all are not hip to Manny Montana, make sure you tap into Dancer. I don't want to cut you off. I don't know if you had anything to say about it.
No, it was good. It was a good record. Honestly, it brought me back to a time period, like mid 2010s, mid to late 2010s, where that sound really burst onto the scene. And he executed it really well. Like I would go back and listen to that personally. Like, man, Manny Montana. Like, how hasn't anybody named themselves Manny Montana? Like, I've never heard that. That is such a fucking layup for a name for an artist. So, that was a really, really dope song.
Yeah. So, those are our slides. If you want to hear those, you can hit the slide deck playlist on all streaming platforms. Artists, if you want to submit some stuff, you can hit us at StayBusyPod on Twitter and Instagram, or you can email us at StayBusyPod@gmail.com. We can take our headphones off.
Let's do it.
And now for the main event, our board meeting. As you all may or may not be aware, Grammy nominations came out, and the usual conversation of Grammy nominations is it's one of my least favorite times of the year. And there are very many reasons for that. One, and so I look at this from the journalist perspective, but also look at it from the fan perspective. as a journalist, I have to be aware. I have to know this artist won this many Grammys, so I can write it in a news article just as another thing to say about them, stuff like that. Like artists' resumes and their accolades matter to me in that perspective. I cover these shows, I write about these shows, blah, 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 all that. So I have to be tapped in as a journalist, so I do pay attention. As a fan, I've really honestly never really cared about it. Like truthfully never really cared about it. In my more aggressive Drake stan days, like in 2017 Grammys when Chance won for Coloring Book, and people were like, "Thank God Views didn't win." I was like, "Fuck y'all! Like, why are you happy Views didn't? Like, what's wrong with Drake? Like, what's wrong with Views? Good project. Like, what are y'all talking about?" But beyond that, really, ever since the whole Macklemore shit, like the infamous incident, I just never really put much weight into it. I watched the show. I like the show. I like the performances, blah, blah, blah. But the awards themselves and who they go to don't matter to me because a Grammy, it doesn't validate my fandom or my approval of someone. Do you make good music? Do I connect with you? That's really all that matters to me for an artist. Like, of course, the people I like, Drake, Future, whoever, like I'm happy to see when Thug gets nominated or Gunna gets nominated, people like that. That's cool. Like, that's great because I know it matters to artists. As much as artists cap, like, Grammys don't matter to them, it does matter to them. My issue in these conversations is the fan bases. The people who every year, when nominations come out, they complain about snubs. Like, oh, this person deserved it, blah, blah. And it's like, you got to be for real. The Grammys value, like, your presence, how front-facing you are. And I've always believed, and if you look at the albums, most of the albums that get, or songs that get nominated, they're very big on, like, commercial success, commercial appeal, widespread appeal. So when you name this underground person who might make great music but isn't doing numbers, you kind of got to be serious there.
Yeah.
And I think that 2021 rap category where it was D-Smoke, Nas, Jay Electronica, Freddie Gibbs, and who's the last person I'm forgetting? Royce da 5'9". I think that had people thinking.
How do you remember this stuff, by the way?
Hey man,
I'm sorry to cut you off. But goddamn, like what is your brain doing to remember this kind of intricate knowledge in fucking music?
Because that was another year where the conversation got super nasty. And granted, that year, if there was any year that I would get like flustered about the Grammys, it was when those nominations came out because that was the same year Lil Baby dropped My Turn, Pop Smoke, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. Juice WRLD's album did numbers. Mac Miller dropped Circles. Like, there were albums that clearly should have been the ones, but maybe the Grammy committee was pandering. I don't know, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But so the snubs conversation comes up, but it's also people getting angry saying, this show is not for us. This show is not for us. Like, that's something that comes up every year. But then it'd be the same people saying that who get mad, like, how is this album nominated? How is that album nominated? And I'm just like, why do you care? Like, if you recognize this institution isn't for you, why do you care? There's multiple shows for us every year. Soul Train Awards, BET Awards, we've shit on them for years. Of course, they'll never reach the level of the Grammys, but there is a show that is for us, just specifically for us, because the Grammys, they cover pop, country, all this other shit. Like, they're appealing to a lot of different people, and the committee is made up of a bunch of different people. So I've never expected the Grammys to speak for me, speak for the culture, and what should really be represented there. But there's this commotion every single year about it. I'm just like, when are y'all gonna like free yourselves from the shackles of getting frustrated by the Grammys? Because if you know something isn't for you, leave it alone. Like, that's what makes sense to me.
What I'll say to these specific award shows being for us, right? The BET Awards, the Soul Train Awards, that come to mind first. Our community and our culture is not seeking validation from us. They're seeking validation from the people who sit behind the Grammys.
Which is a problem. You
get what I'm saying? So that is why, and it sounds great. And in theory, it should be, hey, you should want the awards that's accredited to you by the community you're serving. But that's not the validation that a lot of us are seeking when putting our art into the world, which is why the Oscars and the Grammys and the Tony Awards, all of these, the EGOT, right? The Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, the EGOT. That's why those four awards in particular hold so much weight. because we aren't the ones making those decisions. We aren't the ones who have the power. And, you know, with Kanye being in the news for all that he's in the news for, one of the things that the main talking points around him is he is trying to impress, or he serves, or his agenda is to appease a community that he doesn't really, you know, look towards him, right? And so I think that's really kind of what it is with music, with these awards and these conversations. And then also I think, again, it to me, I'm able to like draw so many comparisons back to social media, because these conversations, sure, they were prevalent before, but now we don't have that wall. We don't have that mask.
Yeah.
We don't, you know, we know what goes into it. Like, I know people on the Grammy board. I know people on certain boards, and it's like, this is all about connections and who you know, and that's what this thing is. Like, we've opened it up so much that there's no more secrets. And the mystique behind artists in the music industry and entertainment in general is diminishing each and every year. And so
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, right? Like, I think Hollywood may be the only place where it still somewhat exists. Because, you know, all the creepy people, they make sure they keep it tight in house. But in music, it almost doesn't exist, especially hip hop music, to be specific. So I think it's just a talking point, and I think the news cycle is starting. This is a part of the yearly news cycle now. You get what I'm saying? Like, even if there wasn't anything to be outraged about, we're gonna find it because it's a part of our routine now. And I think this year in particular, it may just be a case of that.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up the point about the committee, because I also know people on the committee, and I'm happy. Like, everyone who gets the opportunity to work with the Recording Academy, I'm happy for y'all, because yes, we even if I don't care, we do need those voices in the room to be making these decisions for rap and R&B and fighting to get albums that deserve it into the overall categories. Like, that's what we need. The artist that I know someone who personally, won a Grammy last year. Super happy for him. He himself said, yo, it's cap if niggas say they don't want Grammys.
Oh, for sure.
Denzel Curry made a tweet about the rap category. He was like, there were better albums that deserved it. And like, in my mind, I read that as, oh, you think your album deserved it. His album's cool, but I'm just like, people get mad at it until they're on the nomination list and they're up for it, and then their tune changes. I know people at labels, every time their artists get nominated, they're posting it. They'll get upset when they lose, because it's like, at the end of the day, that they're the ones who are putting the work into helping the music get made, marketing the music, pushing the music, getting syncs, all that. So yes, you want that trophy for your hard work. Like, a big first week is cool, a platinum plaque is cool, but a Grammy is the Super Bowl. It's the NBA Finals. It's the World Series for them. So that's why, like, as much as I personally don't care, I respect the people who care about the institution, because I don't make music. Unless I start rapping tomorrow and get to the point where I could win a Grammy, then it's like, it's different.
You got
like,
bars?
I'm all right. I'm decent.
You got bars?
Because
you're a writer, so
right.
I know you had to get in the studio.
Oh, I have.
At one point in your life.
I for sure have.
And what was missing? Was it the delivery, the cadence?
My flows aren't that great. Like, I've got like clever punchlines and like.
I would assume that.
Yeah, and people think like my voice is conducive to fun rapping, like real deep bass type shit. But my flows are a little awkward. So I got to tighten those up.
I am mad at that.
Yeah. You know,
self-awareness.
Yeah, you gotta embrace your weaknesses and make them strengths. Shit like that. So you guys might hear me do a busy session soon. But
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I think Patreon. Let's make it happen. Hey. I want to set you up like the Colors. You know Colors, the presentation of Colors. I want to put Armon Sadler in the middle of a studio, and we got to put it behind a paywall.
So I'm glad you said that, because I didn't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it now. So listeners, I wrote a remix to Drake and 21's Privileged Rappers called Privileged Writers. You get us to 50 Patreon subscriptions, I will record it in studio and release it. You get us to 100 Patreon subscribers, I'll release it publicly. So our subscribers will get it if we get 50. We get 100, I'll put it out for the world to hear. Privileged Writers. It's spicy too. So thank you for that.
You have a new subscriber, sir.
Excellent.
You have a new subscriber.
Do it right now. Don't I'm playing. But back to the eventual Grammy that I'm going to win in the future. Yeah, like so I'm happy for the people who are happy when they receive them, the people who work with these artists that get them. Like, well, when I saw the nominations come out, we'll jump into it right now. Like, Glorilla's nominated for Best Rap Performance. She didn't matter like 6 months ago. Like, niggas didn't really know who Glorilla was. Like, unless you were really tapped in from Memphis, like, niggas didn't really know who Glorilla was.
Okay.
She has ascended. I am super happy for her. Tomorrow 2 is incredible. The FNF, which is nominated for Best Rap Performance, is dope. Signed to CMG now, one of the best labels out here. Like, that is amazing to see, because that's something that should be rewarded. She's been working her ass off, and it's an organic like level up. And she's good too. Back. So like seeing that made me happy. Seeing Thames get nominated made me happy. Seeing Lotto get nominated made me happy. Seeing SZA get another one made me happy. Like shit like that I can be happy about, because like I like those people. They work hard. They deserve it. They had big years. So like that's really what I revel in. Like I don't care about them getting all 5 selections right in a category, because I know it's not going to happen, because it's not just us on the committee. People have different perspectives on things. Some look at numbers, some look at whatever, blah, blah, like all that. Like, it's kind of just like, don't put the energy into that. Like you know what's weird to me? And I found this weird since I was a kid. You know those people who say they don't care about something, but they like say it over and over and over? Like, do they remind you that they don't care about something, rather than just like not saying nothing and showing they don't care about it? That's how I feel with these Grammys conversations. Niggas be like, I don't give a fuck about the Grammys, but they say it every year. They say it when nominations come out, and they say it when the award show happens. They remind us every year, if you don't care, why are you talking about it? You do care. Yeah. You do care. You're just saying you don't care because your favorite didn't get nominated, or something that you didn't think was good got nominated. Something like that. So
I also want to like give the audience a little bit of perspective on what the process is like. Now, granted, I don't have a seat at the table for the Grammy committee, but working the podcast, you know, we have award ceremonies and award shows, the Ambies, the Webbies, the Sing, all these things. And I know how those get judged, right? If you submit a podcast to the Ambie Awards, there's a panel of people that actually listen to the content, right? And so when we have the Macklemores, which is the fucking worst thing that ever happened, but when we have those things happen, it's because we're taking a subset of people, we're putting them in a room, and we're just pressing play and saying, hey, this is what is out. These are the nominees. Make a decision based on this. Whether you are familiar with the music or not, that is how the selection process is being made. This is not a fan vote. This is not, and let me not say it's not a personal vote, because I'm sure that does matter. But a lot of the times, going back to what I said at the top, this isn't for us. It's not made by us. It's not made for us. So if you have people who are not tapped into the culture and they just receive 5 songs, and they listen to those 5 songs, and they say, hey, this is what I like. So this is what we go with. That's how we get in these positions. And I feel like we're not informed on these things, right? And nobody takes the time out to really talk about these processes and how we get there. And, you know, so.
Because they want to keep that veil up, because the more we know, like you give people on social media too much information, they start to think that they know like more than they know, and they create narratives and shit. So like, I think that they, you know, it's important. Well, it's good, but then it's bad to keep that veil up. Like, transparency is good. Like, I think we should know, like, artists and labels have to submit their stuff, or stuff can be nominated. Like, because if you don't know, that's like, well, how do they pick this? Do they just pick the shit out of a hat? Like, you know, like how does this happen? So the transparency is a double-edged sword, because again, when people know too much, they operate on having that knowledge.
Yeah. And the thing, like, when you hear a Drake didn't submit or The Weeknd didn't submit, like, people need to realize Drake is not sitting at his computer and actually submitting his music himself. You get what I'm saying? Like, there is a team of people who do this. And then also, I'm going to give y'all a little bit more game. You have to pay for these things. People don't just say, yo, you're great, we're going to nominate you. You have to submit your work, and you have to pay for each submission and hope you get selected. Like, there's a process to these things. And I think, you know, I'm here to unmask it in a sense, because it's useless, wasteless energy going out into things that you really can't change. And I do want to speak to the people behind the scenes because I don't think they get enough. They get overlooked in these conversations. Like, not only does the Grammy help the artists are always going to be able to eat, but I think the producers, the writers, the people who add to the vision of the creation, that Grammy also means a lot to them too. So selfishly, we want to look at the one person who's in the front, right? We want to look at the artist. It's always about the artist, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But these type of awards help the people behind the scenes who make these things happen, and the price is up. Like, yesterday's price is not today's price when you're somebody behind the scenes that can say, I was a part of a Grammy award winning project. Like, it all goes into the ecosystem. So open your third eye a little bit, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. So let's jump into these categories now. We're gonna start with the rap because I kind of touched on that already. So best rap performance. If you do not know what the difference between best rap song and best rap performance is, best rap performance is for the people who perform the record. Best rap song is for the people who wrote the record. So let us jump into these nominees. So we got God Did, DJ Khaled featuring Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, John Legend, and Friday. We got Vegas by Doja Cat. We got Pushin P, Gunna, Future, Young Thug. We got FNF, Let's Go, Hit Kid, and Glorilla. And we got The Heart Part 5, Kendrick Lamar. I want you to give me what you think is going to win, what you would like to see win out of those.
I think, I'm going to say, I would think Kendrick Lamar is going to win because he's a Grammy baby. The Grammys really like him. They really appreciate him. It's a great body of work.
It is.
But I would like to see Doja Cat win.
Okay.
I would like to see Doja Cat win. I think she had an amazing year, an amazing run. And I want to see the timeline on fire. I ain't gonna lie. I want to see y'all complain about Doja Cat beating out Jay-Z. Yeah, so I think those would be my two.
Yeah, I agree. I do think Kendrick is gonna win. I'd like to see Pushin P, Gunna, Future, Young Thug. I think Gunna, this was the year where he took things to the next level, and unfortunately it was shortened by him and Thug being locked up. But Pushin P is undeniably one of the best rap performances of the year, one of the biggest rap songs of the year. Like, that just couldn't be ignored. It's something that still matters today. Like, that song was ubiquitous. You could not escape Pushin P earlier this year, and it's still something that comes on every so often. So I think Gunna and Thug getting that, even if they're not present, they may not be present by that time to actually receive it. I think that would be a really good look for them. So that's where I am with best rap performance. Best melodic rap performance. These are 4 solo or collaborative performances containing both elements of R&B melodies and rap. So we got Beautiful, DJ Khaled featuring Future and SZA. Wait For You, Future featuring Drake and Thames. First Class, Jack Harlow. Die Hard, Kendrick Lamar featuring Blast and Amanda Rayford. And Big Energy Live by Lotto. Tough category, not gonna lie. What you got? What do you think is gonna win? What would you like to see win?
I don't think it's as tough as you think.
Really?
Personally,
Okay.
I gotta go with the Thames, Drake, and Future. Like, that was the summer anthem, I believe. I think it came on 3 times in an hour. One time when I went out this past summer. Yeah, I think it encapsulates everything that you just read the category entails for.
Yeah.
Right. A little bit of R&B, melody, rap. I think that is probably the winner.
Yeah.
It should be, in my opinion.
So there's like 3 standouts for me. And
So they're not standing out if there's 3.
3 out of 5.
Okay.
There's like 3 front runners here.
Got you.
I think in the Grammys' efforts to be more diverse and to reward a variety of types of artists, I think there's a world where Lotto could get it. There's also First Class, Jack Harlow. Like, that's just, that song was inescapable this year. It was big. I think it's a really good song. It's grown on me heavily. I didn't like it that much at first. And we know that they do love rewarding white rappers with these things. Like, they do love rewarding white rappers. My pick, what I think should win and what I would like to win, is also Wait For You, Future, Drake, Thames. Just one of the biggest songs of the year. One of the best songs of the year, too. Not just commercially, but like also quality-wise. Yeah. And I think Future is probably the MVP of this year. So it was good to see him get so many nominations. And I think that he definitely deserves to be walking out with his arms heavy with Grammys. So I would like to see Wait For You get it.
That's a big compliment to say in a year when Drake, Kendrick, in particular, dropped albums. For you to say he's the MVP, that's a heavy statement.
I mean, I like Future's album better than Kendrick's personally, and Kendrick sold like 40K more than Future's, I believe.
Okay,
but the way, like, in terms of critical reception, people were really mixed on Kendrick's album. And people were kind of, Future's album was a little polarizing too. I thought it was excellent. Like, I love Future's album. So, and I think also you look at his features, you look at everything he's done, like numbers wise, like he's firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
I don't even really consider Drake in those MVP conversations because he's an outlier. Drake could be MVP every year if you really want to give it to him.
Yeah.
But I think Future really performed well this year. So yeah, Wait For You would be my personal pick. Best rap song. This is a song for an award for the songwriters. I'm not going to read off all the names of the songwriters. I'll just tell you the song and who the lead artist is. So we got Churchill Downs, Jack Harlow featuring Drake. God Did again, DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, John Legend Friday, The Heart Part 5, Kendrick Lamar, Pushin' P, Gunna Future, Young Thug, and Wait For You, Future, Drake, Thames. Another tight category.
Yes, this is pretty tight.
What do you, and again, remember this is a songwriters award.
Yeah.
So of these, what would you like to see? What do you think is going to get it?
What would I like to see? I would like to see the same song that I think is going to win, which is God Did. I think that Jay-Z verse, if we're talking about writing, we're talking about songwriting. I think what he displayed, again, going back to what we said about Nas earlier, these guys performing at this level has never been seen. We don't know if it's ever going to be duplicated. And I think that was a moment. I think it warrants, again, penmanship, right? We're not talking about the melody. We're not talking about the sound. We're talking about songwriting. And I think Jay-Z himself alone, outside of the Lil Wayne verse too, which was also a great verse.
Yeah.
Like, had Jay-Z not gone for 48 minutes, we may have been able to appreciate Lil Wayne's verse a little bit more.
Yeah.
So those two guys alone on that song, I think that should win, and I would love to see that win just because of who they are, how long they've been in the game, where they are in their careers, to be able to fucking do that, bro.
Yep.
It is so impressive. Like, I want anybody who has any aspirations of doing anything in any field, if you're listening to this podcast, like, think about performing at that level at the latter stages in your career or in your life in general. Like, I think that should definitely win.
Yeah, people were surprised that like this amount of Khaled nominations were there, this amount of Jack Harlow nominations were there. I was like, first of all, Jack Harlow and Khaled both had big commercial years. Like, also God Did. Like, I'm not as high on the Jay-Z verse. I think it's really good. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's really good. And yeah, so it's like in terms of best written rap song, like that would be up there. Like among the people who would seriously be considered for a Grammy, like that song is up there. So that makes perfect sense to me. What would I like to see songwriting in mind? This one's kind of tough.
It is tough.
I don't think this is gonna happen. But honestly, Churchill Downs I thought was amazing. Like, writing wise, one of Drake's best verses in years. Jack Harlow brought it. He got washed relatively, but like, but he also did his thing. So personally, just because I like Jack, and of course Drake goes out saying I'd like to see it. I think it'll either go to the Heart Part 5 or God Did, though, to be honest. So yeah.
It's almost not fair putting Kendrick in these kind of conversations because he's so beloved in this space, and he's also really fucking good at what he does.
And he hadn't released in years. So there was just all of the excitement about him just popping out in general.
Yeah.
And then giving the Heart Part 5, giving the great records that were on Mr. Morale. So I think just based off of him being back outside is something that's could lead to him walking out with, heavy arms. So yeah, that's another category that I'll be keeping my eye on. Best rap album. This is for albums containing greater than 50% playing time of new rap recordings. So we got God Did, DJ Khaled. I Never Liked You, Future. Come Home, The Kids Miss You, Jack Harlow. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar. It's Almost Dry, Pusha T. Honestly, I'm not really that shocked with this category being what it was. Like, the only thing I would have liked to see probably is Gunna Drip Season Forever. But in reality, Pushin P was like in terms of the Grammy committee's eyes, I can understand why Pushin P was bigger to them than the album itself.
Yeah, for sure.
For our culture, yes, for Drip Season Forever was important to us.
Mhm.
And I think that's, again, something to keep in mind is like who is deciding on these things. But what do you want to see? What do you think is going to take it?
I want to see Pusha.
Of course you
I
do.
want to see Pusha T.
Of course you do.
I love an underdog story.
Mhm.
I'm a Pusha T fan.
Mhm.
I think it was a really good project, right? You got production by Pharrell, Kanye West, the entire thing.
Mhm.
It doesn't really get better than that, and they really served him in a way that Hit Boy and Nas kind of do that thing.
Mhm.
These guys did that thing on that project. So who I would like to see, I would love to see that.
Mhm.
And again, you know, he may not have had the career as long as like a Jay-Z or a Nas, right, when he was in the 90s, but he was early 2000s. And for him to still be, again, working at this performance at this, or I'm sorry, operating at this level,
Mhm.
performing at a high level, yeah, I would love to see Pusha T. But with that being said, who I think is going to win, would you mind reading that off really quickly one more time?
Sure, no problem. So, best rap album nominations: God Day, DJ Khaled, I Never Liked You, Future, Come Home, The Kids Miss You, Jack Harlow, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar, It's Almost Dry, Pusha T.
This almost like feels like Kendrick is gonna take this. I feel like it's critically acclaimed. It's gonna either be Kendrick or Jack Harlow. Like Kendrick is gonna get it back in blood, or it's gonna be a part 2 of Macklemore. And not to like compare Jack Harlow to Macklemore. I think there's levels to the shit. Jack Harlow is an amazing artist. He actually has like some real talent and substance and can be here for a while. But the optics of it, I think that it could come off that way. But I think, again, Kendrick taking his time, storytelling, all of the things that come with Kendrick Lamar, this just seems like a perfect layup. But he would probably be at the lower end for me personally. He would probably be at the lower end of this. I think Future, he deserves his time, in my opinion.
Yeah. I saw people saying if Jack were to win, it would be worse than Macklemore. I was like,
not quite.
Worse than the nigga who gave us Thrift Shop and the other bullshit he gave us? Like,
not quite.
Jack is actually giving us rap records and he can rap. Like, I never heard Macklemore was blown away. Like, Jack went, he ain't win, but he went head to head with Drake. Like, come on, man. He gave you Wayne on the album. Like, that it's just not even comparable for me.
No.
Jack and Macklemore. So, who would I like to see win? Future. I Never Liked You. Absolutely.
Not mad at that.
Yeah, just undeniably. Who do I think is going to take it? I think this is the category where they could surprise us, and they could honestly go push. Like, I don't think people really expected Nas to win the year that he was nominated, and he did. Like, so I feel like if there's any category where they try to go like off the beaten path, this could be it. So I'm gonna go either push It's Almost Dry or Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So let's jump into the R&B category now. So a lot of frustration about this. Best R&B performance for new vocal or instrumental recordings: Virgo's Groove, Beyonce; Here With Me, Mary J. Blige featuring Anderson .Paak; Hours and Hours, Money Long; Over, Lucky Day; Hurt Me So Good, Jasmine Sullivan. That's a really good category.
That is.
It's a pretty good category. What you got?
So I'm probably gonna go with what I heard outside the most, which was Hours and Hours. I think that was just, it almost had that LMA effect.
Definitely.
Where it was just everywhere and it was an anthem and it was new, it was fresh. Although she's been writing songs for a very long time, I want to go with that song personally.
What do you think with objectively, or what do you think the committee is going to?
Well, see, with this category in particular, I think a lot of these women have won Grammys, so I can't even play that card, right? And they also like to snub the biggest artist, which would probably be Beyonce in this case, right?
Easily.
So I don't really know what I think is going to win. If I had to like bet money, I would probably bet on Beyonce, but I wouldn't go with that vote myself.
Yeah, I think I would like to see Money Long get it too. You know, if you know her grind in the industry, she was behind the scenes writing songs for other people, and then she really broke out with that record. Like she's doing her thing. So I think personally, I would like to see it. I think they might give it to Mary, to be honest. Like they really might. Like Good Morning Gorgeous was good. I didn't think it was amazing, but it was good. And I don't know. Like she's nominated for. I think she's leaving here with something. And that song Here with Me with Anderson .Paak was pretty good too. So I honestly think they could go that route. Like it's hard not to think Beyonce Virgo's Groove, just knowing what that song was for people and how it performed. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Something in me just says they're gonna go Mary.
The Grammys don't like the Carters. The Grammys don't really reward Hove and B as
Yeah.
much as we've thought they should have in the past. So
Mhm.
if they leave here with nothing, like I'm not gonna be
I
surprised.
wouldn't be shocked. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like, especially with the impact of Renaissance, like Beyonce is definitely gonna walk out with one, at least one. Best traditional R&B performance. So this is for new vocal or instrumental traditional R&B recordings. We got "Do for Love" by Snow Allegra. We got "Keeps on Falling" by Babyface featuring Ella Mai. "Plastic Off the Sofa" Beyonce. "Round Midnight" Adam Blackstone featuring Jasmine Sullivan, and "Good Morning Gorgeous" Mary J. Blige. What you got for your personal pick and what you think is going to take it?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't heard everything you just listed, brother. I can't even sit here and capture the audience.
I'm the same.
So
And that's the thing. People every year they're like, "How is this song nominated? I didn't hear it, nigga. You're not the only person on earth. Like it's
hear a
music
lot of
out
that
here
shit.
that you haven't heard, and there's music out here that the committee has heard that you haven't heard. So
yeah.
I don't get why a global award show and you not hearing something should not be that surprising to you,
Yeah.
even if it's the R&B category. But
Since you you pride yourself on responsible conversations,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be responsible and lean on your expertise for this category because I'm not equipped to
Yeah.
have a responsible conversation. I'll be biased.
yeah,
I'll use my own personal bias, and I don't want to do that.
yeah. So I've heard 4 out of the 5 songs.
Which one did you hear?
The ones that I didn't hear.
Which one didn't you hear?
Oh, "Round Midnight" Adam Blackstone featuring Jasmine Sullivan.
Okay.
So what I would like to see win is "Plastic Off the Sofa," and I think if there's anything to give Beyonce an award for, it's "Plastic Off the Sofa."
Really?
Yeah,
Not Alien Superstar? I sing that in the shower.
it's a great song. I
That's
don't
an
think
amazing
it's
song.
nominated for anything.
Nah, that's a
Alien
vibe.
Superstar. It's a great song. It's absolutely a great song. I don't think it's nominated for anything. So yeah, I would say if there's anything to reward Beyonce, actually "Cuff It" is on Best R&B Song. So she might walk away with 2. But I'm gonna lock in my personal pick and my real what I think is gonna get it. I'm gonna say "Plastic Off the Sofa" Beyonce.
Got it.
Best R&B song, again, Songwriters Award, "Cuff It" Beyonce. "Good Morning Gorgeous" Mary J. Blige. "Hours and Hours" Money Long. "Hurt Me So Good" Jasmine Sullivan. "Please Don't Walk Away" PJ Morton. What you think is taking it, and what would you like to see take it?
I want to see Mary J. Blige walk away with something. If you know her story, I think she deserves a moment. The top of the year feels like so long ago, but the Super Bowl,
Yep.
right? She did a thing on Super Bowl.
Dropped
I
her
would
album that
love-
same weekend.
Same weekend,
Mhm.
and it just feels like one of those years where we pay homage to the OGs and the people that paved the way. So I would love to see Mary J. walk away with this.
It's a very well written song too.
Yes, it is. It is. But I think if I had to bet, I really feel the same way that the Grammys feels about Jasmine Sullivan. She's another person who is having a second win, so to speak.
Yeah.
Back to that analogy I gave earlier. She is, she came out early 2000s,
Yeah.
late 2000s, whenever. And she's back and she's relevant. She's making really good music. And so I would go between those two. I just can't keep saying Beyonce. I think that's the default answer.
Yeah.
And it sucks when you get that great. It's like the LeBron James effect,
Yeah.
Michael Jordan effect, when you just keep killing shit every single year. We almost discount you for it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with those ladies.
Yeah. Best progressive R&B album for albums containing greater than 50% playing time of newly recorded progressive vocal tracks derivative of R&B. So like alternative R&B, the different variants of R&B. I'm going to be honest, we're responsible here. I have not heard all of these, but Operation Funk, Corey Henry, Gemini Wright, Steve Lacy, Drones, Terrace Martin, Starfruit, Moonchild, Red Balloon, Tank, and the Bangers. Now, I've heard 2 out of the 5. Drones, Terrace Martin, Gemini Wright, Steve Lacy. I think Steve Lacy definitely deserves to walk away with something. Just Bad Habit alone was incredible, but it's also a really good album. And Drones, the Terrace Martin album, was really good too. So I'd be happy with either one of those. I feel like it's going to go to someone that I'm not expecting it to. But I could see a world where Steve Lacy ends up leaving this one. Also, Terrace is like deep in the music industry. I don't know if he's on the committee, but I know he's definitely connected to a lot of people who are on the committee. So I could see them fighting for him to get it. So
Cool.
yeah. Best R&B album. Albums containing greater than 50% playing time of new R&B recordings. We got Good Morning Gorgeous Deluxe, Mary J. Blige, Breezy Deluxe, Chris Brown, Black Radio 3, Robert Glasper, Candy Drip, Lucky Day, Watch the Sun, PJ Morton. I saw a lot of people were frustrated at Brent Faiyaz and Giveon not being in this category. I get it.
Did they submit? Do we know
exactly?
If they submitted?
That's the thing. That's the thing. We never know if it was submitted or not.
Yeah.
I do think those were 2 big albums. Like if they were in the category, I would be like, oh, that makes sense. Like those were really important to R&B, but we don't know the case. So we got to go with what was given here. I also think this is one Mary could walk away with.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I would like to see fuck it. I would like to see Chris Brown take it, but I think Mary's gonna walk away with it. Like Breezy was good. I don't know if you fully tapped into Breezy. But
yes, for sure.
It was
Definitely.
Good. It was really good.
Yeah.
So those are my picks.
I mean, I would be remiss, like I would be so off brand if I didn't mention this. But like Neo did drop an album this year. Like
He did.
I think it sold. Never mind, I ain't gonna do that. But yeah, I would have liked.
I knew what you were saying without you even needing to say.
I would have liked to see an attempt, and who knows? Maybe he submitted, maybe he didn't, like Brent Faiyaz. But yeah. Let's go. I'm gonna go with Breezy on this one too. I think and I don't even know if we consider him R&B anymore. Like it's hybrid. It's a whole different genre. But I'm gonna go with Chris Brown again. This is the year of redemption for me. So I want to see people be in that light. And I think, he hasn't gotten those opportunities on these type of stages. And so I wouldn't be surprised if his team said, hey, we're only going to submit for this category because everything else just might get washed to the side. I didn't hear you mention him in any other category outside of this.
The only one.
So that's a little bit interesting to me. But yeah, I'm going to go with Breezy. And if not Breezy, let's go with Mary J, man.
Those are the only categories we're going to discuss. I want to give a shout out to Bad Bunny, 3 Grammy nominations. I want to give a shout out to Adele. People forgot Adele dropped last year. Like I knew she probably going to walk away with something. She's nominated in both pop and she's in the overall categories. I'm going to read off what's in the overall categories for y'all. And then we are going to close. So, record of the year, we got Don't Shut Me Down, ABBA, Easy on Me, Adele, Break My Soul, Beyonce, Good Morning Gorgeous, Mary J. Blige, You and Me on the Rock, Brandy Carlisle featuring Lucius, Woman by Doja Cat, Bad Habit, Steve Lacy, The Heart Part 5, Kendrick Lamar, About Damn Time, Lizzo, As It Was, Harry Styles. Pretty stacked category. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know where they'd go with that. I would like to see Steve Lacy get it.
Wow. In that category, you would like to see Steve Lacy get it.
I'd like to, but Lizzo is there. Kendrick Lamar is there. Harry Styles is there. Beyonce is there. Yeah. Adele is there. So that'll be a tough one. I don't know. Album of the year, we got Voyage, ABBA, 30 by Adele, Un Verano Sin Ti, Bad Bunny. Love that. Renaissance, Beyonce, Good Morning Gorgeous, Mary J. Blige, In These Silent Days, Brandy Carlisle, Music of the Spheres, Coldplay, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar, Special, Lizzo, Harry's House, Harry Styles. Again, tough one. I can't call it.
I'm not gonna lie. When you listed like because this is like the biggest
These
award of the night.
Yep.
I want to see Beyonce take that shit, man. I ain't gonna hold you. Like I would love to see that because she stepped outside of her traditional sound. I think there's a bunch of anthems on here. And I also want to see a black woman come in and like dominate. And it just reminds me like Serena Williams, right? Just still being able to dominate whenever she chooses to. And I really think out of all the albums that you said, like she had a moment. Yeah. And I feel like Drake got out the way of her. I feel like so many people moved because Beyonce was coming. She brought back the dream to do a lot of songwriting. I think it was just a really impactful summer. Like for the summer, this was the album, in my opinion. She may not have had the song, but the album that I heard, and even, you know, I hate that we have to like mention these things, but a lot of her songs translated to social media, right? You see challenges, you see dances, you see all people from different backgrounds, culture, ethnicities dancing to Beyonce. And so I think if we factor all of that in, I would love to see her like just sweep those two categories in particular, and then let everybody else get the other, you know, the other wins.
Yeah.
But these two, I think that's for Queen B.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, I'd agree. I'm never happy at Beyonce. I'm never mad at Beyonce winning. Sorry, but Beehive, don't attack me. I love Beyonce. Song of the year, overall song of the year, ABCDEFU, Sarah Davis, Gail's the lead artist, About Damn Time, Lizzo, All Too Well, Taylor Swift, As It Was, Harry Styles, Bad Habit, Steve Lacy, Break My Soul, Beyonce, Easy on Me, Adele, God Did, Khaled, Ross, Wayne, Jay-Z, John Legend, Friday, Heart Part 5, Kendrick Lamar, Just Like That, Bonnie Raitt, I believe her name is. Songwriting-wise, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard all those songs, so I can't really comment.
Yeah.
I'm a little, like, my view is skewed because half of the people you name, I'm like, who the fuck is ABCDEFGHIJ? Like, I'm not familiar with that shit. The alphabet and all that. Nah.
Yeah, and lastly, best new artist. I'm gonna read a lot of names, but there's really only two that I care about much. Anita, Omar Apollo, Dami and JD Beck, Money Long, Samara Joy, Lotto, Big Lotto Hive, Lotto for President, Maniskin, Toby Nwigwe, I believe that's pronounced, Molly Tuttle, and Wet Leg. I mean, I'm gonna be just selfish here. I would love to see Lotto take it. I'm scared it won't be, but I would love to see Lotto take it, or Money Long. So, yeah,
dope.
Yeah, those are my picks. So that is Stay Busy. This is our fourth Grammy prediction that we've done. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on TikTok. Let us know everywhere what you guys feel about the Grammys, the discourse, your predictions, what you think snubs are, and just generally, like, if you're excited for the Grammys this year. Of course, it's the boy Armon, Vegan Teresa Poppy, founder of Ball Nigga Ballers, all that good stuff. SaVon returned. He is back. You will be seeing him every month. Like I said, you will be seeing SaVon. I promise y'all he will be here. If you missed him, he's back to fix that. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the Patreon, tell a friend to tell a friend about Stay Busy. And most importantly, make sure that you stay safe, stay humble, and stay busy.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy, taking time, getting right if you miss me. I've been out in the world, staying busy.
Mondays 9 a.m. Party with the gang. Every week, tell a friend. Busy over everything. Busy boys, out of call now. Ain't you heard? Got the vibes. They put you on. Got the slides. I'm the size. Running dog. No, he hold it down.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy, taking time, getting right if you miss me. I've been out in the world, staying busy.